Hi young Rembrandts, welcome to Miss Sue's. We're going to be doing a lamb today. So in your packets you got a drawing of a lamb in white chalk, and you got some paint colors here. We have a magenta, a red, kind of a mossy spring green, white, light blue, and black. And then you're going to need just a foam brush, and in between colors you're going to need to go rinse it out really good and wring it out really well. And make sure that it's dry before you go on to the next color. The key to making this painting really cool and soft looking is to use just a very tiny bit of paint. So you're going to use your foam brush just to dip the tip into the green. And we're going to go ahead and start creating our green background first. And I think I'm going to come up to about here. This is where my horizon line is going to be. And you want to just kind of blot to get this paint on here. You don't want to paint it on solid. For this particular project, it's going to be just a little bit spotty and sparse, but we're going to make it look like soft grass. You're going to see some of the black paper showing through. But this vibrant green is going to really pop on this black paper. So I'm kind of creating just a grassy texture here just by using very little paint and skipping around. You don't have to fill in every little hole. Leaving some negative space is going to create that texture that we're looking for. Very little bit of paint. If you get a lot, like too much on your brush, then just blot it on a paper towel. Or if you can just push it around a little bit onto your support, your paper, you'll be fine. You'll be in good shape. I'm turning my brush this way a little bit too, so I'm kind of making these cuts, which creates this grassy texture in the foreground as well. Okay, the reason we started with the grass is because I want this to be dry before we paint some tulips on top. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create our sky. So I've got this light blue. And same thing, I'm just going to kind of use a motion like this with very little paint. Just kind of pushing it around. Make sure that your brush is really dry before you do the sky here, because we want this to look soft. And I'm almost using a scrubbing kind of a stroke. Very little paint. You do have some white. If you want to create some clouds, you can do that too. Kind of going around my lamb carefully. Acrylic paint dries really fast, so you want to just kind of work one section at a time. And I got a little green on there. That's okay. All right, and then we're going to wash the brush once again. Rinse it really good in the sink and dry it on a paper towel. These will break really easily, so you have to be a little bit gentle with them. So the next color we're going to use is just white. And we're going to start putting some white down. I'm going to kind of use the flat part of my brush here. Again, just very tiny bit of paint. It's much easier to add more paint than it is to take it away. So I'm kind of skipping around. This is going to give that nice woolly texture of this lamb that I want, by leaving some little spaces in between the paint strokes. Just like that. Now I'm going to leave the legs black. I'm also going to leave the face black. Okay, so I'm going to do ears, and I'm going to do the top of his head. Very, very tiny bit of paint back on my brush. And now I'm just going to work on these ears. I keep turning my brush too so I don't get a pattern. I don't want, I just want kind of a random pattern, not anything that's systematic. I want it to look very organic. Okay, again, I just want to leave this little lamb's face black. And kind of create a sharper edge with my brush by cutting across like this on the ears. Okay, so that's pretty much all the white I want to add. And so now I'm going to move to my paintbrush, and I'm going to paint a few tulips. I've got red and I've got pink. So down low in the picture frame, the tulips are going to look a little bigger, and I'm basically just painting a W. As we go farther back in the background, up in the picture frame, they're going to be smaller and have less detail. So there's my W. Makes a great tulip shape. A little bit smaller as I go higher. Smaller, smaller, and then just a little dot there. Now I could just jump in. You can do a white tulips, you can do pink. You could mix the pink with the white and get a light pink. I'm just going to put a couple pink ones in here. And if you overlap them, it'll look more realistic. And it will give you some depth. Overlapping in your paintings will give you the illusion of depth, which means that there's things that are close to you and things that are far. So the last thing we're going to do is we're just going to add some eyes and a nose. So I'm going to wash that brush really good, dry it, and I'm going to put two little eyes with the black on either side of his face here. And I'm going to do a little bit of black inside the ears. I can even do a little finger painting, a little finger smudging. And then we have a nose, which is just going to be like this. And that's pretty much it for your little lamb. Last thing you're going to want to do is sign it. Always sign your art.